All right, guys. So let's do some talking here. Let's do some chit chatting. Man, I'm never gonna make this left turn. All right, let's go. I'm still on my way to the gas station. And there's people just like posted up, trying not to hit cars. People skating in the street. You see, I'm a car. Move. I kind of want to just talk a little bit of random stuff. So a little bit about internet usage, kind of decreasing my internet usage or lack of success with that. I've definitely got like an addiction to my phone somewhat. It's not necessarily like getting in the way of me doing anything, but I think it does. Like I notice, like today, for example, I just substituted like, I've been rewatching Sopranos. It's like trash, like, but I've watched it before, and I like the story, and I watched it not even that many months back, and I like it because I know the story, even though it's really dark and depressing and does not bring me a lot of joy, but I like the depth of the story, and I like that it's just kind of easy to watch because I've seen it so many dang times. But it's not the kind of show that I can kind of like sleep to. I like books and stuff for that, and podcasts and things. So I did substitute watching that to start listening to this like flat Earth podcast. Um, and because of the time of day and week that it is right now, time of day and time of day of the week, the time period that it is right now, I'm gonna be like decreasing. I mean, I'm probably gonna do more creative stuff online, but I'm gonna be decreasing my interneting. Um, Man, I don't know why there's so many lights out. What is going on? All right. All right, trying to safely get across these streets without getting hit. There's a power outage somewhere. What is going on in the city? Okay, so anyways, I'm taking you guys on my drive to like get some gas so that my parents can go to church in the morning using this car because it's kind of on empty and I don't want to leave it on empty, but I'm just trying to put a little bit of cheap gas in it, and I can't get to a cheap gas station because they're either closed or the power's out, or here's number 3 that I'm coming up on. We'll see if the power is out on this one too. So, okay. So, when it comes to, internet usage, I think I've talked about it before. Like, Vicel, what's her name? Vicel. He does the tours of New York, the Hasidic tours. She talked about that Gaydar app, not Gaydar, but GEDER app, and these other apps where you can kind of like shut off mainstream usage. And so I haven't gone that far to actually try that. I found it interesting, but I'm like, I'm not really there yet. Like, I think for me, that's too extreme. I'm interested in it. I think it's a cool idea. I don't think it's for me. Dang, this gas station's full. So I don't know what to do here. I'm trying to get out or in. I don't know which direction I'm trying to go here. Let me just wait somewhere. All right. So I don't know what to do. This one at least has the door open, so hopefully they're open. Is this one backing in? I'm trying not to take somebody's space if they're trying to like get in. That one backing in, or is that car just leaving? Hey, buddy, if you leave, he's not backing in. Okay, I'll take the spot then. Sorry, guys. I gotta like talk myself through this. A little confusing of a night for me. All right. All right. So drive. So, mostly I've been trying to work on things like my anxiety, stress levels, energy levels, sleep. I noticed for sure. Dang, I shouldn't have gone this way. I noticed for sure when I'm not away from my phone for a little bit at night, it's really hard to sleep. Like if I'm listening to something engaging, it's hard to sleep. Now, I take some CBD, I take some melatonin for sleep. It helps me to rest. That does help. Like once that starts making me a little bit sleepy, it is a whole lot easier to sleep. I will admit that, but like having to use CBD and melatonin, that can get pricey. Like I don't even use like that much, but if I think of it, it's like it can cost me about, let's say, like 15, 18 or so dollars every 2 months for some melatonin. And let's say the CBD lasts like a month. And when I shop online with a discount, it's like $25 or something, $27 a month or so. And so that's about, let's call it like $35 a month, just for like sleep supplements, and that adds up. That's kind of a lot of money, honestly. I think I want to go this way actually. But yeah, I I find it pretty difficult to sleep. And when I'm trying to like rest or just like lay down, I find that really difficult too. It does affect how I eat, but I've barely learned about like high iron meals. I need more iron in my diet, less sugar, more iron. That's what I need in my diet. I've finally found the website and ingredients and like recipes that I can make that I would be likely to make. So far, I've only done the smoothie, but um, it is kind of my style of foods. Um, but I don't know. Like, I'm still gonna need to take some time on some of that stuff. So yeah, I'm working on it. I've been reading some random stuff. Um, I'm still reading some of that Talmud tractate Nazar about Nazarites. I'm still reading that. Um, I still don't know what I think about Rabbi Tovia Singer. If you've come across his content, he's this rabbi on um, online, and he's very against the New Testament Christianity, kind of the tradition of those scriptures and everything. There are things that I always found interesting, like that Jesus doesn't have a book of his own, or um, just some general stuff, like how long it took for like even the first Gospels to be published, or to be, I guess the Gospels are like letters, um, or accounts But yeah, a lot of Paul's writings are letters, and there's some debate about did he really study under the rabbi that he said he studied under, like, you know. And I was watching this Jews for Jesus. No, Jews for, is it called Jews for Jesus? I don't think they're Jews for Jesus. I don't know what it's called. I think it was called Jews for Jesus. I don't know, because they don't believe in Jesus, but they have a couple seminars where they talk about the Talmud and Jesus, or Yeshu, or characters that seem like it could have been Jesus. So I listened to some of those a couple weeks back. They were really cool. Um, they were talking about some examples of some people that, had the name Yeshu, and the history of the Talmud, how some of the stuff was changed when, the Christians, or I think it was Christians, who were in control, were, in charge of publications and printing, and weren't allowing the Talmud to be printed as written. They were censoring it, basically. The Christians were censoring it so that it wouldn't contradict anything biblical. And so, because the Christians were censoring it, the Jewish writers of the Talmud would censor things that they would change things that wouldn't pass the censorship. Um, and so there's information in there that's like changed. It doesn't actually follow what the Jews would have said, as far as their theories on things. It wouldn't follow that. It followed some other thing, because they'd have to change it. And so some of the references to this person Yeshu, some people say that yes, it is related to Jesus, but they had to change a bunch of stuff to make it sound like it wasn't him. Because I think there was a Yeshu and then a Joseph or something like that. Like, there was something where it seemed similar, but then when you read the actual storylines of the people that it references, it's like those people don't add up to be the same people that would have been like Jesus or like his father Joseph or anything like that. So there might be some similarities, like the name, or like who they may have studied under, or maybe where they would have lived or something, but it's not actually, like, all the other details don't really add up. Why are there so many pedestrians? Like, man, there's a lot of people out walking. Maybe because it rained yesterday, so everybody's like out today. Everyone's out shopping, everybody's out walking, everyone's out driving. It's a really busy evening. It's barely 6:14 p.m. on a Friday, and there's so many people out. Like, I don't understand this. Probably because it's gonna be raining like Sunday, so everyone's trying to get out as much as possible right now. Us Angelinos, we get kind of depressed when it rains, and we don't like to drive when there's other people on the road when it's raining, because everyone drives nuts, sliding all over the place. So yeah, but yeah, those are just some things that kind of come up. Just some questions that kind of come through about, like, what's going on, where are these kind of like theories, like, what are the theories? um I don't know. I mean, I've been enjoying a little bit of reading the New Testament, like, about Jesus. Like, I've been doing this kind of like parallel study a little bit of, like, just studying the Gospels, like, in a parallel, uh, just kind of parallel. I think I left off at the place where it was talking about Jesus being, from, or where he settled in Galilee or something like that. Like, after he got his disciples, or maybe he doesn't have all his disciples at the point where I'm reading right now. But yeah, the Gospel of John is the one that's kind of like the oddball, or the odd one out, because it doesn't have the same stories, and so, or it doesn't have things in the same order. The other three kind of have most of the same information, but John doesn't really have a lot of the same info. So Yeah, the Book of John is a little bit odd. Um, some people say that Jesus wrote it. I don't know. There's so many weird theories out there that I'm coming across that I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with all this stuff. Um, like I eventually rein it back in, but like I like to go like out broad, like far, and then just like get as much like random data points as I can, and then just kind of like see if I can make sense of any of it, like kind of themes and things like that. Um, because sometimes you hear stuff and it's like one person said it and like you never hear it again. Another thing I've been looking at are movies. Um, so I like to dabble. I was raised in a culture that kind of, you know, doesn't really, cater or want people to see a lot of movies because it's considered, like you got to watch your eyes, your mind, your heart, like it can be detrimental to your soul to some extent. And I am very cautious with movies, even though I've just mentioned I was watching The Sopranos. Like I'm very careful in a way, as in like I try to be aware, even though it definitely sucks me in. There is this kind of mindfulness or like state, meditative state or trans like state that you get into when you're watching movies where it just sucks you in. So I can't say that I'm completely mindful when I'm watching them, but I do try to at least reflect on them. And yeah, I do notice that a lot of movies are anti-biblical, anti almost any religion, except for occult type stuff. Um, I don't know what I think of the occult. The occult seems like it's more connected, to my understanding. It seems like it's more connected to like a lot of different religion, a lot of different governments, and it's kind of like a political religion. It's got like a lot of politics intertwined in it, like a lot of world politics intertwined in it. That's kind of my understanding of the occult. Like it seems like that's kind of the main thing they're trying to do is control the world on all different levels through all major, world powers. Because there aren't that many countries that are kind of like untouched by it, and it seems to have some infiltration into government and like Freemasonry. I don't know how relevant that is, and like Satanism and things. Like I really don't know. I don't want to like say this like I know what I'm talking about because I don't. But it just seems like there's a lot of weird overlaps with all those things. Um, so there is that, and then yeah, I was rewatching Battlefield Hollywood with Scott Meyer. Um, he's someone that used to kind of preach at an LA church where I used to kind of attend on occasion, or he preached a few times or went to one of the churches I was at. I don't really know. Like I saw him around. This is like a decade or almost like a decade and a half ago. I'd see him around and I know of him, but like he probably wouldn't remember me and we're not like close. Like we don't like know each other. But I have nothing against the guy. I don't really know him. Like I know of him. I like the content. But if you, I've talked about it before on here. I have an episode that's way more detailed about it, and it talks about the symbolism with some of the logos of these entertainment industries and how a lot of it has like some occult kind of symbolism, and there's a lot of famous actors that say that they kind of take on some kind of like forces that they kind of let enter them to kind of act like I think Denzel Washington, Leonardo DiCaprio, um I can't remember. There's like a journalist that they talked about. He does documentaries. Um there's just a lot of the famous people. Marilyn Monroe, a lot of these like people from the past too. Lucille Ball, a lot of these people they have um, quotes out there where they said something along the lines of them taking in some kind of uh forces or like personalities or um entities or something that kind of helps them to act really well. um and there are other directors that say like, oh, sometimes there'll be like up to 30 different people in one day or whatever, and like, you know um nobody I don't think anybody specifically said demons. But then there was that movie The Golden Compass that I didn't even remember, and they talked about demons, like how they have the demon. Like if you go back and reference these movies, it was a kids movie a while back, and or a book, and it was the most popular book, and then they made it into a movie, and it was like about these animals that people had from the time they were young, and the animals were called demons, and then they kind of they get raised up as a person gets older. They become more solidified, and you kind of have to protect your demon and all this kind of like it's like a whole thing. And like there were these other places, these other topics. I don't want to spoil it all, but I'm not gonna watch it tonight because I think it kind of affected my sleep last night, and I had an interview today, so it was just not ideal for me to be watching that. But if you hear an echo and I'm like drinking, I'm drinking a LaCroix, so it's a lemon flavor. It's flat by now. It's been open for like an hour or so. Mm, but I just want something. I want something to sip on. It's not like calorie based, and it's not just plain water. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much more about that right now. There are a whole lot of other episodes of Battlefield Hollywood that I haven't watched that I want to dive into. I don't know what I'm really gonna look into this weekend, but I want to spend, it's technically like Sabbath time. I want to spend that time learning about something that isn't just watching Sopranos or, watching like the typical stuff that I watch. Most of the stuff that I kind of record on here kind of has to do with things that I learn during those times of the week. And there are a lot of weeks where I just don't really learn anything and I just binge watch stuff. That's just like random stuff that I would just watch in the week anyways. Today I'm kind of more motivated towards, actually taking a break from the usual stuff that I watch. Um, Kind of diving into something a little more, not wholesome even necessarily, but just something more, um, kind of more esoteric kind of topics, either about like nature, spirituality, or just something otherworldly, something that's not just like mainstream. I try to take a day out of the week to try to like get away from it all and just like, expand my mind on things and try to like see what I think about different stuff. Um I'll see if I microdose in the morning. I might. Um I don't know if I will. I might though, because I'm not gonna be going anywhere, so I might as well. But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say on that note. I think I'm trying to see if there's any more. I'm just kind of recording just random stuff right now. I'm not really recording anything that interesting. My head's been foggy pretty much all day. I've had little spurts of energy. I've been tired. I didn't sleep enough. I was up late and then woke up too early, and I did what I could with my day, and I canceled some phone plans with friends and stuff just because I was like, let me just rest. But I do want to like, I was like, okay, I want to spend that time that I would have been on the phone with a friend, just kind of diving into some other stuff, because I do want to learn some stuff. I don't know what I want to learn, but somewhere along the lines of all the kinds of things that I just mentioned, I'll probably dive into some of that kind of stuff. Try to stay off Instagram, even though I kind of automatically go onto there sometimes. Um, I mean, it helps me to kind of like think of what I'm actually gonna like view or listen to. That Flat Earth. Let me see if I can find the name of it. It's on Spotify. So let's see. If I open it, will it close this app? Let's see what happens, guys. It's the last thing I was listening to on here. Why the Lie, episode 1. The name of the podcast is Flat Earth Files, and the thumbnail is like a brown. It looks like a brown. What is this? Oh, it's like a brown map of the flat Earth. And so I want to look into it. I want to kind of like look into it. There was something I was recording about that National Geographic article that talked about Colin O'Brady, the one who did that trek across a portion of Antarctica. Because they tried to like discredit him, even though he wasn't talking about flat Earth or anything. But I don't know why they made it try to seem like he didn't do it, or he didn't do it right, or like he shouldn't get any credit. I don't understand where that came from. But he has his own website. I wanted to do a deep dive on his website too, but he doesn't really talk about flat Earth. But I think it's good to get all angles, because there aren't that many people that have a lot of information about going to Antarctica. Like, it's not a place that people go to a lot. So I'd like to know more. All right, so I'm gonna get off this recording. I'm gonna post these this weekend. I'm gonna get in the house before it starts getting cold outside and just kind of get on with my night. And have a good weekend, guys. Thanks for listening.